system. Okay, before we start our lesson, I would like to go through the exercise. Okay, I go through the chapter 14 first, but before this, I still have the chapter, I think chapter 12 and chapter 13 haven't discussed with you. It's okay, I discuss with this chapter first, and then this is from Athens. Okay, for this one, what is the position of the optic nerve? So you see, right? Retina is in the innermost layer of the eyes, which contains a lot of the photoreceptor. So the photoreceptor is belong to the rods and cones, right? And then what is the positions of the optic nerve? I'm not sure, do you remember about on the retina, right? There's a spot, we call it a blind spot. Okay, I think I have this picture. Let me show you the blind spot. So on this blind spot, right, you cannot detect any image. Do you know why? It's because this blind spot, they don't contain any photoreceptor on it. So let me show you the location of the blind spot. See, which is at here. Can you see the blind spot? At this blind spot. And then this blind spot, they located with the, they located nearby to the optic nerve. Okay, so means that the optic nerve, right, they located very close to the blind spot. So means that the location of the optic nerve, they do not contain any photoreceptor, right? They do not contain any photoreceptor. So please remember about the location of blind spot, which is they lie very near to the optic nerve. So this answer will be boy, okay, because optic nerve on the location of the optic nerve, right, they don't have any photoreceptor. Totally zero of the photoreceptor. So that is boy. And then for this one, what are the effects of adrenalines? I think this is your mistake, okay? But I think you know, right? You know the adrenalines is the hormones. It's a very, very powerful hormones because what adrenaline will do? Adrenaline, what they do is they will increase both breathing rates, pulse rate, heartbeat, blood pressures, and also they will increase the blood glucose concentrations. So how they do this is they will convert the glycogen, which is stored inside the liver, and then to become the glucose. And then they will release the glucose to the bloodstream. So this is what adrenaline do. So please remember, adrenaline will increase the rate of the breathing, respirations, heartbeat, pulse rates. Okay, so that is boy. And then for this one, this is a simple reflex arcs. And then what is the sequence of the nerve cell through which an impulse pass during a reflex action? So your answer is QRP. Yeah. I'm thinking why you write QRP. But correct one is this RPQ, okay? RPQ. So R, you can see this R, right? Can you identify the type of neuron? We have three types of neuron, right? We have the sensory neuron, interneurons, and the motor neurons. So these are, they are referred to the sensory neuron. Okay, they are referred to sensory neuron. How I able to identify is a sensory neuron? Because I can see it is connected to the receptor. Okay, it's connected to the receptor under our skin. And then, which is from receptor to the neurons, and then they will branch into the spinal cord. So this butterfly-like thing, right, is a spinal cord. It's a spinal cord. Right? And then within the spinal cord, you have this one, P, okay, a very short neuron. So what is this short neurons? These short neurons, which is they are located inside the spinal cords, they are referred to the interneurons. Interneuron. And then interneurons, they will transmit the nerve impulse to the motor neurons because these motor neurons, they are connected to the effector, okay? So this is motor neuron. Motor neuron. So the answer is RPQ. Means that the nerve impulse, right? It will go from the receptor to the sensory neurons, and then to the interneuron, which is located within the spinal cord, and then they will get into the muscle. They will get into the muscle. So by the motor neuron. So muscle is a kind of the effector. Okay, it's a kind of effector, which is they will produce a response, which is they will contract, okay, and then they will move the hand away from the pin. So this we call it reflex act. What is the characteristic of the reflex act? It's because that they will produce a automatic fast response without any thinking, okay, without any involvement of the brains. Fast and automatic response. And then for this one, seedings in the two experiments on the tropic response of seeding to the gravity or light. Okay, so you can see that in the first experiment, right, the seed, okay, they will grow outwards. So they will start this experiment in the dark side. So after that, they will grow outwards in 3 days later. So I think this one, they show what? Okay, you can see, right, the shoot is growing outwards and the root is growing downwards. Okay, so in the experiment 2, they show the effect of the lights. So it means that they will put a hole in front of the seed, right? So the light, they can penetrate through hole and then reach the seeds. So you can see after the seeds germinates, they will grow their shoots. The shoot will grow to the direction of the sunlight. So this show what? This show the phototropism. Okay, so the answer is number A. It's not C. A, which is it show the effect of the we call it gravitropism. You know why it show gravitropism in the first experiment? It's because that gravitropism, right, they are showing the affections towards the direction of the gravity. So it means that the roots, they will grow downwards. Why the roots able to grow downwards? It is because it is because that the roots is the requires a positive gravitropism. Then how about the shoot? Shoot is growing outwards because it shows the negative gravitropism. Even though there's no stimulation of light, but the shoot will still grow away from the direction of the gravity because it shows negative gravitropism. So the answer is A. Okay, the answer is A. Yeah, okay, so you all know that the pancreas able to secrete the glucagons and also the insulin. Okay, so pancreas is a very important organ because from this organ, right, you can get what kind of substance from the pancreas. Pancreas able to secrete the hormones and also the enzyme. Okay, before that you learn about the enzyme like the lipase, protease, amylase, right? So those are also secreted by the pancreas, and then there are things in the small intestine to perform the digestion of the food substance. Yeah, so this is show that, see, good color visions as a result of high concentration in which cell at which position. So this is point cons at Q, okay? So as you can refer to my notes, right? So this location is referred to the fovea. You can see the fovea? This one, fovea. You can see, right? There's like small groove at this part. So at this part, we call it fovea. So fovea, right? If you they have a very high concentration of the cons. So the function of cons is they will detect for the color light because they are responsible for the color visions. Okay, color visions. Yeah. So they can detect the color in the bright light. Okay. So here Q is a fovea, which they contain a very high concentration for the cons. And then for this one, okay, this is an eyes, right? This is an eyes. So what happened to this eyes is this eyes, right? They have the, you see the lens, okay? Lens, right? They able to change their thickness. Means that they can become thin or they become thick. So if you are viewing at the near object, what happened to the lens? Will it become thin or become thick? Adam Suya, when you are viewing the near object, right, you will become thick or you become thin for the lens. I hope you have the answer in your mind. So the answer is, when you are viewing the very, very near object, right, so the lens will become thick and become shorter. So they will increase in thickness and they will become shorter. So when you're viewing the distant object, what will happen is, distant object, you are able to increase the, means that the lens become thinner and longer. Okay, so what describe the structure R and the S? Okay, R, right? R is they are referred to what kind of structure? R is they are referred to the suspensory ligament. Suspensory ligaments is attached to the structure on the lens. Okay, so R is a suspensory ligament. And then this one S. So who is holding the R? It's the muscle. We call it as a ciliary muscle. So as you are viewing the near object, right? So it means that your lens will become very thicker and shorter. Thicker and shorter. So what makes your lens become thicker and shorter? That means that the ligament holding on the lens, right, need to be relaxed. So when they relax, they're able to allow the lens, right, to increase their thickness. Okay, so it means that the suspensory ligament holding the lens, they need to relax. So whenever the suspensory ligament relax, right, how about the ciliary muscle? Ciliary muscle, they will do in the opposite way, which is they will contract. Okay, they will contract. Because they are always working in this way, which is when the ciliary muscle, they contract, right, suspensory ligament will relax. Means that they will they will like hold looser on the lens. That's why the lens you're able to bounce back. Okay, you're able to increase the thickness. But what will happen is when you are viewing the distant object, right, the suspensory ligament, okay, they are contract. Instead of relax, they will become contract when you are viewing the distant object. So when the suspensory ligament contract, right, they are pulling on the lens. So whenever you pull on the lens, right, the lens will become thinner and longer. Okay, so when the suspensory ligament contract, what will happen to ciliary muscle is they will relax. Okay, so they will always working in this way. Okay, usually you will have a pair of muscle. One muscle will contract, another muscle will relax. So by working in this way, right, you will able to produce a movement. They will not be like both muscle contract together or both relax together. So that's it, see, okay? Because R is under tension. R is not under tension. R is relaxed. Because the lens become increased thickness. So that's why R relax. So that's it, see, yeah. Okay. You know how to see this, right? You know how to read this. Okay, you just refer on my notes, which is at this part. I think I have summarized for you. Okay, at this notes. Is at here. Yeah, it's at here. So you can see, if you want to view the object far away, right, you need to relax your muscle. Okay, and then suspensory ligament, right, you pull tight. What's mean by pull tight? Pull tight means that contract. Okay, they'll pull on your lens, so the lens will become longer and thinner. Okay, so when you want to view the distant, it's not distant, sorry. When you want to view a near object, right, that's why your lens become fatter. Fatter means that you are increasing the thickness of the lens and then become shorter. So it means that suspensory ligament, they will slack. Slack means what? Relax. Slack means relax. So when the suspensory ligament relax, right, ciliary muscle, they will contract. Okay, they will contract. And then followed by that, okay. The direction will reflect arch. Okay, so what is meant by X? We write synapse. It's not synapse. X is the receptor. Okay, it's a receptor. Why is not a synapse? This one is a receptor. Okay, why is not a synapse? It's because that synapse, right? Synapse is like connection from one neuron to another neuron. So this is called synapse. Okay, means that you need to okay, something like this. Something like this. This is a synapse. This is a synapse. Okay, why? It's because there are connection between one neuron to another neuron. So in this one, right, it's receptor because they don't have another neuron connected with it. Okay, so this is receptor, and then this will be the sensory neuron. Okay, this will be sensory neuron. And then this will be the interneuron. Okay, I hope you're able to identify interneuron because you can see, right, interneuron have the shortest length of their axons. Because in the interneuron, right, their dendrite is highly branched, but their axons is appear shorter. And then connected to the motor neurons. And then connected to the effector muscle. Yeah, like that. Okay, so here is the receptor. Okay, another thing I want you to know is how I'm able to identify is a sensory neuron or not. Is I will see at this structure. You can see in the sensory neuron, right? The cell body is located at the middle. You can see cell body located at the middle in the sensory neuron. Okay, so this is a special feature for the sensory neuron. Okay, if you look back on the notes last week, we look at structure of sensory neuron, right? So you can see the synapse. Synapse is a connection from one neuron to another neuron. Okay, which is from the pre-synaptic neuron to the post-synaptic neuron. Can you see the sensory neuron? The cell body is located on the middle part of the axons. Okay, so in the relay neuron or interneuron, right? So you have to, actually, interneurons or relay neurons, they belong to the same one, which is they are located inside the spinal cord. There is a connections of the neuron between the sensory neuron and the motor neuron. So you can see this relay neuron, right? They have a very highly branched dendrite, and then they have a very short axons. Okay, let me continue. So do more question, you will know more. Yeah. And then this one, synapse in the reflex arch, P to Q. Okay, what are identify the two neurons and which direction that does the neurotransmitter pass? Okay, for this one, right, the answer is not C. It's not C, okay? It will be the donkey. Okay, why is not C? It's because that when we talk about the neuron, the orientation of the neuron will be always from the sensory neuron to the relay neuron and then to the motor neuron, right? So whenever the impulse, they need to transmit from one neuron to another neuron, they must go in these directions, from sensory to relay to motor. There's no way that the nerve impulse, they can go in backward direction, which is from the motor neuron, relay neuron, sensory neuron. No way. Okay, so why C is not correct is because that you can see Q is motor neuron, P is relay neuron, and then the impulse, right? You are moving from motor to relay neuron. How can it be? Cannot, right? You cannot move your impulse from motor to relay neuron. You only can move your impulse from sensory to relay to motor. So that's why donkey is correct, because at least you are moving your impulse, right, from the sensory to the relay neuron. So that is Q to P, okay? In the Q will be the sensory neuron, P will be the relay neurons. Okay, so any kind of questions? And then for this one, okay, gravitropic response in the seeding. So the answer is not A. Okay. So at those I hope you understand that the gravitropisms is only affected by the gravity only. It will not be affected by the light. So what is mean by affected? What is mean by affected by the gravity? Is because that the roots always show the positive gravitropism, and then the shoot always show the negative gravitropism. So due to the shoot, they show the negative gravitropism, right? They will always growing in the opposite direction to the gravity. Because gravity, right? When you talk about the direction of gravity, will be always like this, downwards, right? We call it as what? 地心引力. They will always in the downward force. So that's why the roots, right? They will move towards the downward force. They will move towards the direction of gravity. Then the shoot, they will move away. Even though the shoot does not affected by the sunlight, but they will still move outwards, away from the gravity force. So that's it, C. It's not A, okay? It's not A. Human skin. Okay, you need to identify the structure. What is AX? AX is a sweat gland, okay? It's not a sensory receptor. Actually, it doesn't look like a sensory receptor also. Yeah, I think it doesn't look like a sensory receptor also. AX is a sweat gland, okay? Sweat gland. And then Y is the hair erector muscle. I wish that here, see. You can see, right, there's a muscle connected to the hair follicle. So this muscle, when they contract and relax, they will cause this hair follicle to erect or they will relax. Yeah. So this Y is the erector muscle. And then how about the Z? Okay, Z is the sensory neuron. You can see is Z. How are you able to identify its sensory neuron? Okay, in this case, you cannot see the cell body. But you can see what? You can see, right? What is this? Oh, sorry. It's too rough already. What you can see? You can see this hardly branch. What is this? Okay. You can see this, right? This is the dendrite. Dendrite of the sensory neurons, and then they will connect it to the receptor. They will connect to the receptors under the skin. For example, like the pain receptor, thermoreceptor. Okay, those receptors, they are connected to the sensory neuron. Okay, so this long branch, right, is a sensory neuron. Then this one acts as a sweat gland, okay? It's a sweat gland. You can see, right? You can see this sweat gland, right? They are like open a tunnel, okay? They are open a tunnel to the surface of the skin. So here will be the sweat pores, okay? Sweat pores, 汗腺. And then they will release the sweat out. So here's the structure. Okay, for this one, the answer is C. 4 processes occur when the impulse across the sinus. RSPQ. Why you put RPQS? Okay, what is RSPQ is because that you need to have this impulse, right? Stimulate the vesicle. And then after this nerve impulse, they stimulate the presynaptic neurons. The presynaptic neuron, they connect the vesicle. They connect the synaptic vesicle. So inside this synaptic vesicle, right, they have what? They have the neurotransmitter. So from the R, right, they will become they will release out neurotransmitter also. Okay, so when they release out neurotransmitter, they will enter into where? They will enter to the synaptic cleft. Okay, so they will release into the synaptic cleft, or we call it synapse, which is a space, the empty space between two ends of the neurons, between the neuron ends, okay? From the presynaptic neuron to the postsynaptic neuron, there's a space. So the neurotransmitter will release to this space, right? And then they will diffuse across the gap and then reach the postsynaptic neuron with these receptor proteins on the surface. And then they will produce a response. Okay, so the answer is C. Stimulate the synaptic vesicle first. Only you're able to release the neurotransmitter. Only you're able to diffuse the neurotransmitter across the gap. Okay? The gap is referred to the empty space between the neurons, and then you're able to bind to the receptor proteins on the postsynaptic neurons. Okay, so another thing, And that's why I want to ask you is, when the neurotransmitter, when they are being traveled through the synaptic cleft, which is a space between these two neurons, they are being traveled by what kind of method? Simple diffusion, active transport, or the osmosis? Tell me, which method? Waiting for your answer. Which is, I refer to this one. You can see. When the neurotransmitter from the presynaptic neurons, okay, they are being released to the empty space, which is synapse between these two ending of the neuron. So, and then they will slowly diffuse to the receptor proteins on the postsynaptic neuron. This process, right, is happened by simple diffusion. Okay, I hope you remember. It's happened by simple diffusion, not active transport and also not osmosis. It's just by simple diffusion because it just shows that neurotransmitter, they are being diffused from the area with the higher concentrations and reach into area with a lower concentration. So this is known as simple diffusion. Okay, continue. And then for this one, okay, phototropism, the plant shoot is grown with the light coming from one side only. So which region show the greatest rate of growth occur? So that's it, actually C. Okay, why is it C? It's not B. It's because that you can see, right? When the shoot grow, they grow to the direction of light. So that means that they will bend their body, right? Like this, okay? They will bend their body. So whenever they bend their body, right, you can see, right, this side, actually, they elongate more compared to this side. See, which is this side? They are increasing in that length because they need to bend to the right side, right? So that means that this C, okay, the region of C, right, they have the greatest rate of growth. Okay, do you know why they have greatest rate? Do you know why they have greatest rate of growth? It's because that whenever the light, right, the light that will affect the auxin distributions on the shoot tip. Okay, at the Suya, remember where you can get the auxins. Where the auxin is being produced from. The site of production of the auxins from the plants is on the two places, root tip and the shoot tip, right? So remember, root tip and the shoot tip. They will produce what? They will produce the auxin. Okay, they will produce the auxin. So what will happen is, in normal situations, without the light stimulations, on the shoot tip, the auxins will be in the, like this. Means that there will be uniform distributions of the auxin on the shoot tip. But if the light, okay, penetrates and shine on the shoot tip, right, what will happen is the light will cause the unequal. It's not unequal, it means it's uneven, okay? Uneven distribution of the auxins at the shoot tip. Okay, the light will cause the uneven distribution of the auxin at the shoot tip. So what will happen is, and then the auxins, right, auxins on the shoot, they will hide away from the light. Okay, remember, auxin, they will hide away from the light, like this. Okay, I think I have include in this notes, right? Let me show you. Because auxin in the shoot part, right, they are afraid of the sunlight. Okay, so they will always hide away from the light. See, because something like this. So the auxins hide away from the light, and then they're accumulated on the shaded side. Shaded side means that the side which is they're not being exposed to the sunlight. So the auxins, okay, what is the function of auxins? The function of auxins, okay, before we talk about this one, right, we should know that auxin is a kind of plant hormones. It's a kind of plant hormones being produced from the shoot tip and root tip. So the purpose of this auxin, right, their function is they just want to do the, we call it cell division and cell elongations. See? Okay, they will do the cell division to produce more cell, and also they will elongate the cell, which is they will increase the length of stem, something like that. So the auxins produced from the shoot tip, right? They will hide away from they will hide away from the sunlight. So that's why they will accumulate on the shaded side. So the auxin, right, they will cause the cell divisions and cell elongation on this part. So that's why the shaded parts, they will elongate more than the parts which is exposed to the sunlight. Okay, so remember about thing, which is, you can see the shoot and the roots, right, they show different story towards the phototropism and we call it gravitropism. So in the shoot, right, they show the positive phototropism because they are growing towards the sunlight, but they show negative geotropism because they are growing away from the force of gravity. But how about the roots? The roots, right, they will have this one. Okay, I'm showing the screen, right? Let me see. Oh, I think I'm showing the screen. But on the root parts, right, they are growing toward the direction of the gravity, but they grow away from the sunlight, because sunlight is on the upside, right? They are just grow downwards. That means that they grow away from the direction of sunlight. So we call it what? We call it negative phototropism. Sometimes the question they will ask you to describe the response of the shoot and the roots towards this tropism. Okay, so you can see in the plant root, right, it will cause the, okay, this one, I refer to the auxins. Okay, just mean auxins. Auxins will redistribute to the shaded side of the roots. So it will promote the growth in the shoots. So the side with the higher concentration, they will grow faster compared to the side which is exposed to the sunlight. So that's why the shoot able to bend toward the light in this way. Then how about the shoot? Okay, shoot, they will show the negative. They will show this negative geotropism is because that the auxins, right, they will redistribute to the underside of the they will distribute the underside of the shoot. So the auxins, they will promote the growth. So the side with the higher concentration will grow faster. So the shoot will bend away from the gravity. So what happened to the shoot is will be like this. Okay. So shoot able to show the negative gravitropism, and that means that they grow away from the gravity, is because that the auxins, right, will distribute on the underside. Okay, so when they are distributed to the underside, right, they will cause underside elongate more. So if the underside elongate more, right, they will cause the shoot to grow upwards in the upward directions. See, it will grow to the underside of the shoots, and then they promote the elongation and the growth. Okay, so what happened to the roots parts? So in the root tips, right, they also produce the auxins. They produce the auxin as well. But the story is different from the shoot part, because in the, where is it? Because in the roots part, right, the auxins will redistribute to the shaded side of the root. You can see, right? This is on the root part. This is not on the shoot part, but on the root parts. So the story is different. So you can see, just now in the shoot part, right, you can see the auxin hide away from the sunlight. But now in the root part, the auxin actually, they are, okay, what will happen is this auxin, right, they are actually redistributed to the shaded side of the shoot. Okay, so, and then they will inhibit the growth in the roots. You can see, right, auxins that occur on this side, right, and then they will inhibit the growth. So the side with the lower concentrations will grow faster. And then the roots, right, they will bend away from the sunlight. So that's why the roots show what? They show the negative phototropism. Okay, so how about in the positive geotropism is because that the auxins will redistribute to the underside of the roots. Okay, so they will inhibit the growth. So now what happened is they will inhibit the growth in the roots parts. So that's why the side with the lower concentrations, they will grow faster. So the roots will bend toward the gravity. So instead of promoting the growth in the shoots, auxins in the roots, right, they will inhibit the growth. Okay, understand? Auxins in the roots, right, they will inhibit the growth. That's why, yeah, it becomes something like this. And then one thing you need to know is, we will talk about phototropism, right? when we talk about phototropism, phototropisms only happen in the presence of the light. Understand? So if you don't have light, no light means no phototropism. That's all. Okay, but the gravitropism, right, is always present. Okay, it's always present. Unless you can find some method to cancel away of the effect of the gravity. Okay, so that's it, C. Because the oxygen, right, will distribute in this way. Since they hide away from the light, so they'll be in this way. Okay, the shaded part will accumulate the highest quantity of oxygens, and then they will stimulate the elongations. They will stimulate elongations right here. Okay, this is also, yeah, from the stimulus to the receptor to the sensory neuron, relay motor neuron to the effector. Okay, stimulus first, okay, and then they will become receptor. Because stimulus, right, we refer to the external or internal stimulus. Okay, usually it's from the environments, like you are feeling cold or you are feeling hot. So those we call as stimulus. And then for this one, okay, mechanism that control the blood sugar concentration. So starting with the pancreas, right? What is sequence of the events which the hormone glucagon is involved? So that is 541. Okay, what is 541? It's because that, okay, when you do the 1 hour exercise, what we do is exercise need more glucose supply to the muscle, right? That's why what they do is from the more glycogens, then they become less glycogens. They become more glucose. Okay, do you know why they need to become more glucose? Means that the pancreas, they will secrete something like, they will secrete the glucagons. So glucagon, they will able to convert the glycogen stored inside the liver become glucose. Okay, means that they will convert the glycogen become glucose. And then release to the bloodstream. Release to the bloodstream. So you're able to increase the blood glucose concentrations. So you're able to increase the glucose supply to the muscle. So they can do more aerobic respirations. So that is point. Okay, so this is due to the effect of the glucagons. So more glucagon will be secreted out in order to supply your muscles with the glucose. Okay, so okay, for this one, the answer is boy. Okay, the answer is boy. So you can see appearance of iris and pupil in 3 different light concentrations. So if without the light, right, if there's no light occur, means that it's in the dark conditions. In the dark condition, right, pupil will dilate. So the answer is number boy, okay? Pupil will dilate. But if there's a presence of the light, okay, if present of light, for example, if present of the, see, bright light. So this one is bright light. Okay, why this one is bright light? It's because that now pupil, they will constrict. You can see, right, the pupil constrict, become in smaller size. So why the pupil constrict in the bright light? Is because they want to reduce amount of light penetrate into the eyes. So that's why they will constrict, okay? Pupil will constrict instead of dilate. Okay, why pupil will dilate in the dark condition is because there's very, very less amount of sunlight, right? That's why the pupil, they dilate. So they're trying their best to collect more light, enter into the eyes, so they can see the object more clearly. Okay, more clear. And then for this one, okay, you inject yourself with adrenaline, what will happen is both will increase. Okay, you are increasing your pulse rate, and also you are increasing your blood glucose concentration also. Just remember that adrenaline will increase a lot of things. Okay, I think I also marked before. Okay, I haven't marked finished. I haven't finished marking for this chapter 9. But I want to show these questions. Just similar to that question. Hey, where is it? For this one. Okay. So, okay, because this adrenaline effect is a common questions in the IGCSE biology. It's a very common question. Okay. So, the effects on the adrenalines to our body is they will lead to dilation of pupils. They will increase the blood pressures, increase the breathing rate or the respiration rate also can. They will increasing the blood glucose concentrations. They will increase the blood pressures. They will increase the supply of glucose to the muscle. Means that they need to convert the glycogen become glucose first. Yeah, so there's a functions of the adrenaline. So both will increase also because it increase pulse rate. You also increase the blood glucose concentration also. So both will increase. And then for this one, okay. Which label points to the spot in the eyes where the vision is sharper? So that's is C, because why? C is fovea. Fovea, you have the higher concentration of the corn cell, right, which is a photoreceptor. So C, okay, because you have the highest concentration of the corn cell. Then how about A? A is a blind spot, okay? A is blind spot, which is also the location of the optic nerve. So located on this place. So it's not B. B is a lens, okay? It's a lens. Lens will not cause your visions become sharper. Lens will only adjust their thickness, okay? For what? Because then they can do what? They can do the reflection of light. They can adjust their thickness based on the location of the object for the light reflection. For the light reflections. So whenever you want to increase the visions, right, you need to increase more corn cell. And then for this one, okay, a flies. So a fly coming near to the eyes, and the eyes begin to focus the image on the fly on its retina. So this answer is C. Okay, because what happened is you can see right now the fly right is coming near to the eyes, so you are viewing the near object. So when you're doing the near object right, so that's why the lens become fatter. So whenever you want to allow your lens become fatter right, that means that this S right, they must become slacker. Okay, then the Q will be relaxed. Okay, understand? Q will be relaxed. Oh, sorry, Q will be contract. Because now lens become thicker, right? Thicker lens. So thicker lens will cause the suspended ligament to be slackened, which is that will become loosened. Instead of tightening the lens, they will loosen it. Okay, slacker. That's why the CI muscle they contract. Okay, below that, yeah, and then this one also. W, right, is a synaptic vesicle. And then this synaptic vesicle, they will release a neurotransmitter, pass through this synaptic cleft, right, and then they will bind to the receptor. So that is C. It's not W. Okay. Okay. Synaptic cleft is at this place. Y, which is here. Synaptic cleft means what? Synaptic cleft refer to the space, the empty space between two connection of the neuron here. This is called synaptic cleft. Okay, so W is a vesicle. We call it the synaptic vesicle because this vesicle inside they contain a neurotransmitter, contain a very large amount of neurotransmitter. And then see this one. So what pass from the P to Q actually is a neurotransmitter. It's not electrical impulse. Okay, at the Suya, and one thing you need to know is which is your sensory information. I mean that whenever a cell want to communicate with another cell, right, which is in a very, very distant locations, they need to undergo two methods, okay? They are connected with each other by two methods. First is by electrical signal. Second, chemical signal. Okay, so electrical signal, right, they will help to transmit the impulse within the neuron. Okay, so I think I use the image to show you better. Let me find an image to show you. The location of the electrical signal and the chemical signal, you need to know. And the chemical signal in the neuron, okay, in the neurons. Okay. What happened to my mouse? Where's the image? Okay, this is a very great image. Let me show you this one. Okay. Oh. As you can see, this image a bit blur, but I think you can see the outline, right? Which is electrical signal is referred to the electrical impulse, the nerve impulse, which is the axons on the neurons. They will transmit the nerve impulse, right? So here is the electrical signal. So electrical signal is transmitted on the locations on the axons of the neuron itself, right? So the chemical signal is referred to when these neurons, when this whole part neuron, right, they want to transmit their nerve impulse to another neuron. See, another neuron. So this location, right, there will be synapse. Okay, we call it synaptic cleft. So this location will be a synaptic cleft, which is the empty space between two neurons. So whenever your nerve impulse, right, they need to traverse through this empty space, which is the synaptic cleft between these two neurons, right, they need to change their form, become chemical signal. Okay, because chemical signals, which is conduct in the way of the neurotransmitter. So only neurotransmitter they can diffuse through this synaptic cleft, and then they will get into the we call as a postsynaptic neurons. They will get into the receptor on the postsynaptic neurons. Okay, so on this location on synaptic cleft, which is the gap between these two neurons, right, is chemical signal, which is they will use this neurotransmitter. So neurotransmitter is a kind of the chemical messenger, right? It's a chemical messenger. Okay, it's something like hormones. Okay, just refer you can just refer that neurotransmitter, which is a chemical messenger, is a kind of hormones. These hormones only found in our brain, in our whole nervous system. So the change of form, from the electrical signal to the chemical signal, they change their form. Okay, so once the neurotransmitter, they reach the postsynaptic neurons, okay, once they reach the receptor proteins on the postsynaptic neurons, so they will direct the impulse to the dendrite, and then they will produce the electrical impulse again, and then to travel through the axons, and then get to the nerve ending, and then when they need to pass through the gap, right, they need to convert them, become the neurotransmitter again. So at this one, just remember that whenever the neurons, they want to transmit the signal, okay, through their axons, right, they transmit in form of electrical signal, okay, or we call it electrical impulse. But whenever the neuron want to transmit the signal to another neurons, which is there's a gap located between them, so they are transmit in form of the neurotransmitter, which is a chemical signal. So that's the difference. So you can see, right, you want to transmit the impulse from P to Q, right, you need to become chemical signal first, which is neurotransmitter. Okay, so in this gap, right, will be the chemical signal, the neurotransmitter. So from this P, right, will be the electrical signal. Here, electrical signal. So the P, which is we call as the presynaptic neurons, they will transmit the impulse, okay, in form of electrical signal. When they reach this ending, okay, they will become the they'll become this one. They will trigger the release of the synaptic vesicle to release the neurotransmitter to the synapse. So the neurotransmitter, they're able to diffuse through the synapse and get into the receptor proteins on the pulsating neurons. So once the neurotransmitter, they bind to the receptor protein on the pulsating neurons on this one, motor neuron. So what will happen is, so this motor neuron will be stimulated and then they can produce another nerve impulse. So from this way, right, they will become electrical signal again. So means your impulse is transmitted in this way, okay? In two ways. From electrical signal, they need to go to another neurons, so the chain become chemical signal again. So until they reach another neuron, right, they'll become electrical signal back. Like this. They'll change in their form. Okay, so when the environment is hot, how do the arteriole in the skin and the hair-related muscle react? So you can see, right, it's in a hot environments. Hot environment, right? You want to do what? You feel very hot. You'll be sweating, right? And then your body trying to lose the heat away. So how your body able to lose the heat away means that your arterioles will undergo what? Will undergo vasodilations. Okay. What's meant by vasodilations? Means that this one, vasodilations. You have two types, right? I mean two conditions, vasodilation and vasoconstrictions. Vasodilation refer to the diameter of the blood vessel increase. You are actually increase the diameter of the blood vessel. So this requires vasodilations. Okay, this requires a vasodilation. So what will happen is, whenever you feel very hot, right, you cause the arteriole to increase in diameter. So what will happen is your arteriole increase. I mean, initially is like this way. Okay, maybe I can draw something like this. This is arteriole, and then initially the diameter is like this. But whenever they undergo vasodilation, right, they will increase diameter, become like this. Okay, increase in diameter, this one. So why they need to increase diameter is because that whenever they increase diameter, right, they're able to increase the amount of blood flow. They can increase the amount of blood flows. And also, whenever the arteriole, they vasodilations, right, the undergo vasodilations, they will cause the blood flow, right, near to the skin surface. So whenever the blood flow very close, I mean they flow under the skin surface, right? They flow very near to the skin surface. They have a chance, which is they're able to lose the heat away. Okay, because the blood, right? The blood will carry the heat, you know. That's why whenever the blood flow under the skin surface, right, just very close to the skin surface, they're able to lose large amount of heat away. So by this way, you're able to reduce your body temperature. You only undergo vasoconstrictions once you are chill, okay? Or means that you feel very, very cold. Chilling, we call it chilling. Cold. So whenever you have these vasoconstrictions, means that can just imagine, right? This is a skin surface. And then here is a vasoconstrictions. Oh, sorry, here's a vasodilations. Okay, so whenever you increase the diameter of blood, right, you will cause more blood flow near the skin surface, so they can lose more heat. You know, they can lose more heat. So you're able to reduce the temperature. But what happens is when you do the vasoconstrictions, what happens is imagine, right, this blue color is skin surface. So vasoconstriction means that your blood vessel will reduce in their diameter. They become smaller diameter. The lumen of the blood vessel become in small diameter. So that means that they will move it away, like this. Vasoconstriction means that the blood vessel, right, they will move away from the skin surface. They're located inner part, okay, inner part. So by this way, right, you're able to conserve the heat. Okay, you can conserve the heat when when you're under the cold environments, okay, you're able to conserve the heat, reduce heat loss in the cold environments by the vasoconstriction, okay, by the vasoconstriction. So are you okay with it, Adasuya? So just remember that during hot day, you will undergo dilation, vasodilations. And then your hand and the muscle, they will relax also. Because it's very hot, right? They want to trap any warm air. So they will relax. And it's like adrenaline, okay? You're able to you're able to affect the pulse rate, increase the blood glucose concentrations, dilate the pupil site, but adrenaline will not affect on the menstrual cycle or the sperm productions, okay? Menstrual cycle and sperm production will be under effect by another hormones, which is you haven't learned before. The follicle stimulating hormones, estrogen, progesterone, you learn in chapter 16. So that's why answer is C, okay? You need to remember these are adrenaline, because adrenaline is a common question we ask in the exam. Okay. For this one also, the sequence, okay, the sequence. Yeah. Okay. So how do the skin react when the body become cold? Cold, right? That's why the arterial, right, they will undergo vasoconstrictions and then you reduce the sweat productions. Okay, this one, moving away from the skin surface. Why the answer is not donkey? Why the answer is A? Is because that arterial vasoconstriction is much more accurate to describe the conditions compared to moving away from the skin surface. So that is A. Just remember that during cold you have vasoconstriction. During hot time you will have the vasodilation. Just remember in this way. And then for this one, a man injured his arm in the accident, but he can move his hand, but he cannot feel object touching his hand. So that is donkey. It's not C. Why? It's because motor neuron, right, is connected to the effector. So now you can feel your hand. You still can feel your hand, right? You can move your hand. Your hand is an effector organ. So that's why your motor neuron, they can function well, okay? It's an effector organ. But now you cannot feel object already. You cannot feel the sensation, okay? That's why means that your sensory neuron is being affected. That's why you cannot feel the sensation. You cannot feel the pain, cold, hot, yeah. You lose the sensation already. And then the real neurons only found in the spinal cord. It's not related to the synapse. And that's why synapse is referred to the empty space, which is a gap between these two neurons. Okay. And then this one, the blood vessel near the surface of the skin. So what will happen is, okay, if vasodilation occurs at X, right? So what happens to blood flow at Y and Z? So the answer is C. Okay. So if the X have the vasodilations, X is what? X is the arterial, okay? X is the arterial. Then how about Y? What is Y? Y is a capillary. Okay, it's a capillary. Actually, it's not capillary, it's a shunt. Okay, just remember. Yeah, it's a shunt. Okay, I hope you still remember. And then Z is what? Here will be the capillary here. Because blood capillary will be stay near to the skin surface, right? Blood capillary. And then Z will be the venule, okay? Will be the venule. So what will happen if you increase the diameter of the arterial? Because you have vasodilations on the arterial, right? So increase more blood flow. Okay, so what happened to the blood flow as Y and the Z? Okay, so both also will increase. Okay, both also will increase, which is it will increase the blood flow to the shunt and also the venule because you increase here. You have more blood flow. Okay, you have more blood flows to here. So how much of the blood flow enter to arterial means that how much of the blood flow will be assist through the venule. So it means that you can increase both blood flow at the shunts and also the venule. Then for this one, the answer is boy. Okay. So you can see, right, there's a higher concentration of auxins in the cell on the shaded side of the roots. So this is a very common question. Okay, so just as I show you, right? So why the plant is bending toward the light is because that on this shaded part here, shaded part refers the side which is they don't expose to sunlight. They have a higher auxin concentration, so they can stimulate more cell elongation. Okay, so it's higher. It's not lower. Okay, it's higher. Okay, why skin look more red in the warm environments than does in the cool environment is because in the warm environment, right, we induce what? You induce a vasodilation of the arteriole. Okay, so if you have a vasodilation, means more blood flow to the skin surface. Okay, that's why you can see your skin look more red, or even or sometimes you can see the blood vessel dilation under your skin also. I have seen this before. Okay, just imagine, right, your skin is pure in color, right? It's just orange like that, but you can see something like the branch, okay, the branch of the blood vessel just under your skin because they just undergo vasodilation, so they can just so that means that your blood, right, they are flowing very close under the skin surface, so you can see the shape of your blood vessel. So vasodilations. So both will increase for the blood glucose and the breathing rate for the adrenalines. Okay, so I think I'm going to finish it. Oh, okay. Other question are correct, I think. Yeah. Okay. Other is correct. It's just repeating only. Okay, so what is X? X is the pulsating neuron, right? Pulsating neuron. And this pulsating neuron, right? They have what? They have this one. X. X refers to receptor proteins. Receptor proteins. And then this one, right? Vesicle is belong to this one. A sac which include the neurotransmitter. Okay, so this is called the vesicle. Vesicle, or sometimes we call it synaptic vesicle, only found at where? Only found in the presynaptic neuron. So there's a one question they asked before. Why the nerve impulse only can transmit in one direction only? Because you can write it this way. It's because that in the presynaptic neuron, right? In the presynaptic neuron, okay, contain the synaptic vesicle, which have the neurotransmitter. Okay, so that's why neurotransmitter can only diffuse in one-way directions, reaching the receptor protein on the pulsating neuron. Yeah. Due to their location, okay, due to the presynaptic neuron, they only have vesicle, and then the pulsating neuron, they only have these receptor proteins. Okay, I think I finished it. Yeah, I finished it, right? Okay, this also. So this is donkey, it's donkey, okay? Because you have this direction of the light at here. So when the light is shining at here, right? So here will be the shaded part. Means it at here. Here will be shaded part. So on this shaded part, right, you have more auxin concentrations. Okay. Shaded part with a higher auxin concentrations. Higher auxin concentration. Okay, we finish it. For this one, which structure will constrict to reduce heat loss? Constrict, okay. What is donkey? Donkey is sweat gland. Then A is what? A is we refer to the blood capillary. Okay, it's blood capillary. So how about the C, right? C is refer to the hair follicle. Refer to hair follicle. So what will constrict is the arteriole. Okay, the arteriole will do the vasoconstriction and the vasodilations. So that is boy. Okay, because boy is belong to the arteriole. Okay, done. Yeah. For this one, right? Sorry, I think I circled wrong. What is X? X is a neurotransmitter, okay? X is a neurotransmitter. Okay, this side, right, is referred to the synaptic vesicle. And then this one is referred to the neurotransmitter. Then how about this one? This one, right? This one, like Y-like shape thing. So this Y-like shape, right, is referred to the receptor. Okay, so the X, right, is the neurotransmitter. So the answer is boy. Okay. Okay, the end. We still left 1 hour. Okay, so I hope I can discuss the new chapter with you. Actually, we have some question haven't do it. It's okay, we can do next time. But I just want to discuss the new chapter with you. Okay, can you open chapter 15, the drugs? And then if you're ready, please let me know. And then we can start the lesson. It's another interesting topic for this chapter 15. We learn about drug. The addition of the drugs. Okay, everything good? And then, Suyang, do you have any question to ask me currently? Or no? Okay. Okay, so let's talk about the drug. What is drug? Okay, drug is referred to any substance they taken into our body, and then they can modify or affect the chemical reaction of the body. Okay, so the drug, the most common drug that we heard about, and then we eat a lot is the antibiotic. You know, the antibiotic. So whenever you go to visit the clinic, right, you tell doctor that you feel discomfort. Okay, so usually they will prescribe you with antibiotic. So what's antibiotic? Antibiotic is a chemical substance, right? And then this antibiotic, the interesting thing is antibiotic is being produced by the fungi and the bacteria. I think you heard about one antibiotic called as penicillin, right? Have you heard of the story of the penicillin? Okay, penicillin is being first antibiotic being produced in the world. Okay, this is penicillin. Penicillin antibiotic. It's the first antibiotic being produced. Okay, produced by a fungus called as the penicillium, which is this fungus. So you can see, right, this fungus we call as penicillium. This one, penicillium, okay, penicillium fungus. They produce the antibiotic, which known as the penicillin. So this penicillin, they can kill the bacteria. So they will become like this, okay. Yeah. So it's a fungus. Fungus, they produce an antibiotic which is able to kill the bacteria. So how the antibiotic able to kill the bacteria? Have you ever wondered how is the mechanism? So it's like this. Okay. Let me go through the structure of bacteria with you. Okay, do you remember bacteria? The structure of bacteria, they have what kind of thing? They have what kind of structure inside bacteria? Okay, Adam Suyang, you tell me, bacteria is a prokaryote or is a eukaryote? I'm not sure if you remember. It's prokaryote, correct? It's a prokaryote. Prokaryote means that this bacteria, right, they don't have nucleus, no organelle. It's very simple, which is inside they only have the DNA, ribosome, and also this one. You can see this circular thing, right? This is called circular DNA, okay? You got circular DNA. And also, bacteria, right? They have a very important structure, which is they can protect the bacteria. They call it cell wall. Okay, so the cell wall of bacteria, right, is made from the peptidoglycans. So how the antibiotic able to kill the bacteria is the antibiotic, right? They will target on the cell wall of the bacteria. So something like someone, they use a knife, okay, to punch you. Okay, so yeah, so it'll be something like that. So the penicillin antibiotic, right, they will punch a hole through the cell wall of the bacteria. So the cell, right, now they have the hole, they have the hole. And then they'll be injured already. So that's why the content inside the bacteria, they will leaking out. So they will lead to the lysis of the bacteria. So like this picture, right? This picture show about what? They show about lysis of bacteria. Lysis means that the bacteria will rupture and then they will die. Why they lyse? It's because their cell wall, they have hole already. So they will cause the internal content just leak out. Okay, so means that penicillins, they will interferes with the building of the bacterial cell wall. So this is our mechanism. Okay, this is only one of the mechanisms of the antibiotic. Antibiotic they also can work in another way. It means that sometimes the antibiotic, right, they can inhibit on the synthesis of the bacteria, okay, or they can inhibit on the ribosome of the bacteria. So they will cause this bacteria, right, become inactive, unable to go for the further reproductions, like that. So for the exam purpose, you just need to know that how the antibiotic kill the bacteria is they will target on the cell wall of the bacteria, cause a lysis of the bacteria. So this is the thing you need to know. Okay, so Dr. Su Yang, we know that antibiotic can kill bacteria. So let me ask you, you think antibiotic can they kill virus? Can antibiotic kill virus? Can you treat the virus disease with antibiotic? Can you treat? Yes or no? I think the answer will show you no. Okay, we cannot treat the virus disease with the antibiotic. It's ineffective. I mean, it's not effective at all. Do you know why? Because antibiotic, right, they unable to kill virus. Do you know why they unable to kill virus? When you see about virus, like the structure of virus, oh, I didn't show it here. Okay, when we talk about structure of virus, it will be something like this, right? The virus, okay, which is like this. Okay, I draw a diamond shape. Okay, inside of virus contain what? The virus only contain the DNA or RNA inside. Okay, I just draw a strand, which show that it's a DNA or it's RNA. Okay, there's two types of virus. We call it the DNA type virus or the RNA type virus. Okay, so there's a nucleic acids inside the virus, but the virus, right? Virus, they don't have ribosome inside. Okay, they don't require any ribosome because virus, they don't produce the proteins, you know. So here's the structure of virus. It's very simple. Okay, with the nucleic acids, and then okay, there's a protective cords surround the virus because what? Protein capsid. It's very hard, rigid material. Okay, they can protect the genetic materials inside the virus. So this protein cord. And sometimes the virus, right, they have the envelope surround it. The envelopes. And then the envelope, right, they have what? They have the receptor, you know, the receptor on it. Okay, something like this, okay, receptor. Or sometimes we call it what? We call it glycoprotein, you know, glycoprotein. Receptor on it. So how the antibody able to kill the virus? Sorry, how the antibiotic able to kill the virus? They cannot kill the virus, right? It's because the virus, they don't have the cell wall. Virus, they don't have the cell wall like bacteria. So that's why antibiotic, they cannot target a virus due to the absence of the cell wall. As simple as that. So antibiotic, they are effective against bacteria, but not against virus because they cannot kill virus. Okay, so they will target the process and structure that are specific to the bacteria cell, so they will not harm the animal cell. So doctor will prescribe you with the antibiotic if they will suspect you have any underlying infections. Okay, and then now we talk about the this one. Okay, why don't antibiotics affect the virus? Is because that they work by disrupting the cell functions, such as the respiration, breaking down structure in the cell some way. Okay, so another thing is virus, right? Okay, virus is a non-living organism. It's a non-living thing. Virus is a non-living thing, but the bacteria is a living thing. When we talk about living things, right, which is they carry the 7 characteristics. They carry the respiration, reproductions, excretions, any kind of living process. So this is not being carried by the virus. Okay, so they do not carry out any function of cell, then they don't have cell wall, cell membrane, or any other organelle. Whereas they don't have the ribosome inside. Okay, so this will make them become not affected by the antibiotic. Okay, so how virus able to reproduce? They will depend on the host. This one, they will utilize the machinery of the animal cell to reproduce, which is they will depend on the host to replicate. So how virus able to survive is virus, they can attack into the host cell, and then they will hijack into the DNA of the host cell, and then they will make their own virus DNA copy. So this is their way. And then now we'll talk about antibiotic resistance. So what's mean by antibiotic resistance? So resistant, okay, I think you heard before, right? 抗药性, 抗生素, 抗药性, okay? So this is very serious topic nowadays, okay? Because the human medicines or the animal medicines, they overuse a lot of antibiotic, okay? So what will happen is the cause of the antibiotic resistance is due to the overuse of the antibiotic. Overuse means what? 滥用抗生素. Yeah. Okay. So whenever, like when you see a doctor, right, even though you don't have that specific disease, right, but the doctor will still prescribe you antibiotic, and then you didn't complete your antibiotic. I mean, you didn't consume all your antibiotic. Okay, so this will lead to the resistance being developed. Okay, so okay, due to the overuse being prescribed when there's not really necessary, and then the patients failing to complete the fully prescribed course by the doctor. I think this is quite common now. Okay, because I think you yourself, right, when you go to visit a doctor, when you go to visit a doctor, you also didn't complete the antibiotic dose, right? Yeah, and then for this one, now skills of antibiotic farming to prevent any disease when the livestock are being kept. Okay, for example, livestock, right? When you talk about the like the pig farming or the chicken farming, so whenever the animal they got the disease, right? Because at the animal they are reared together, so they'll become very stressed. So when they stress, they are more prone to disease, right? So if they prone to disease, right, they will develop a symptom, okay, like reduce in the feed intake, something like that. Or sometimes they will increase in mortality. Mortality means that the animal, they will die more, okay? So usually how the farmer or how the veterinarian able to treat them is they will prescribe antibiotic. Means that they will put the antibiotic into the feeds or drinking water of the animals and let them to drink it, let them to consume it. So they're hoping this antibiotic, they can help to treat any illness caused by the bacterial infections. So you can see the mortality will be reduced. But this will cause the bad effect, which is it will lead to antibiotic resistance. Okay. So even though sometimes the animal, they are not actually sick, right? They still prescribe them with antibiotic. Okay, so what happened is overuse of antibiotic or patient failing to complete the fully prescribed course of the antibiotic, or you have too much use of antibiotic in the livestock farmings, it will lead to reduce in the effectiveness of the antibiotic. And then you increase the incidence of the antibiotic resistance. So what is the cause of antibiotic resistance? The cause of antibiotic resistance is, the outcome. The outcome of antibiotic resistance is maybe one day, the antibiotic that you use before, right, they cannot treat your illness effectively. Means that your body, right, develop resistance towards the antibiotic. So for example, like you cough a very, very simple like coughing or sneezing, right? You want to use antibiotic to treat your infection, right? But the antibiotic unable to treat this because they already develop resistance towards the antibiotic. Okay, means that the bacteria they grow inside your body, right, already develop resistance towards the antibiotic. Antibiotic, they are able to kill the bacteria which is grown in your body. So one very common example of the antibiotic resistance is called MRSA. I think you first I heard it right. This one, MRSA, okay, is a methicillin resistant Staphylococcus aureus, MRSA. This one, okay. I think later you can have a look on the article. So this MRSA, right, is referred to a kind of the bacteria. This bacteria, right, they know as Staphylococcus aureus. Okay, the name is quite long. Okay, just similar to the penicillin fungi. It's a kind of bacteria, Staphylococcus aureus. So this bacteria, right, they resistant to this beta-lactam antibiotic. Okay, beta-lactam antibiotic is just a kind of antibiotic. So yeah, so it means that the bacteria, they cannot be killed by the antibiotic because they already develop resistance to it. Okay, so maybe I can show you how the antibody resistance being developed is because like this. Okay, you can just imagine yourself in your body, right? In your gut, in your respiratory tract, in your digestive tract, there'll be a lot of the bacteria grow inside your body. Okay, you have a very great variety of the bacterial populations. They just grow inside your body. And then those bacteria, right, they have, we call it a different genetic diversity. Okay, they have a genetic diversity. So when you expose the, when you consume the antibiotic, right, you actually expose your bacteria in your body to the antibiotic. Okay, so the antibiotic, right, you're hoping them, okay, you're hoping this antibiotic only kill the bacteria. Okay, sorry, before that, I want to clarify to you is, you have a population of bacteria in your body, okay? They are just grow inside your digestive tracts, your respiratory tracts, your gut. Okay, gut is referred to the intestine, 肠道. Okay, so what happened is, this bacteria, right, is in a population, in a very large population. Okay, but the bacteria, they have what? They have the good bacteria or they have the bad bacteria. Good bacteria or the bad bacteria. So what happened when you prescribe with the antibiotic is, sometimes when this bad bacteria, right, they will cause illness to your body. Okay, good bacteria, right, they will maintain the health of your body. Okay, for example, the good bacteria, like you heard before, right? Adam Suyang, do you drink Yakult before? Probiotic drink. Yeah. Okay, yeah. You drink Yakult, right? Yakult is made from what? Made from the lactobacillus. Lactobacillus is a kind of good bacteria because you drink Yakult, right? You drink the lactobacillus. So lactobacillus will produce what? Will produce lactic acid. So lactic acid will help to maintain your gut health. 维持肠道健康。所以我们讲喝益生菌可以维持肠道健康something like that. So that's a good bacteria. Okay. Then when we talk about the bad bacteria, 坏的细菌 okay? 坏细菌 means that they will cause illness to the body. For example, like the E. coli. Okay, maybe you first heard it. E. coli. 大肠杆菌 E. coli. Okay. Because bacteria is too wide variety. Okay. So, and even we talk about this E. coli. E. coli, okay, is a very large group of bacteria. So inside this E. coli, right, you have the E. coli, which is very, very bad one. The bad bacteria, right, they can cause the effect to your body, like they will cause diarrhea. They will cause diarrhea to your body. Or you have the E. coli, which is they help you maintain a very, very gut health, okay, good gut health. 维持肠道健康 something like that. So 你要明白啊，就是说你的这个身体里面有好菌有坏菌。Okay, so this is because of population of bacteria inside the gut. And then what happens is, when you expose the population of bacteria to the antibiotic, so antibiotic, right, they will kill all. They'll just kill all. Okay. No matter it's good bacteria or bad bacteria, they just kill all. So you see, when you expose to an antibiotic bacteria causing illness, right? So as well as healthy gut bacteria are killed. So they just kill all. And then a funny thing happened is, okay, when you eat the antibiotic, right, the antibiotic instead, you're hoping them to kill the bad bacteria only. Okay, this is your hope, right? You hope the antibiotic that you eat help you to kill the bad bacteria. But in realistic is, antibiotic, instead of killing the bad bacteria, they will kill the good bacteria first. Okay, means the good bacteria, right, they are more They are more susceptible to the antibiotic instead of the bad bacteria. Okay, do you know why? It's because you can see this one. Okay, this picture, right, they show like this one, pathogenic antibiotic resistant bacterium, and the pathogenic bacterium, and this one, healthy gut bacterium. Okay, so this is a good bacteria, 好菌 good bacteria, and then this is the 坏菌, okay, bad bacteria. And then for this one, bad bacteria, right, you have this one, pathogenic, and okay, you have two types of the bad bacteria, right? One is pathogenic, and then this pathogenic bacteria, right, they have carried the antibiotic resistant gene. They carry this gene, okay, antibiotic resistant gene. This gene, and some bad bacteria, right, they do not carry this antibiotic resistant gene, so that's why they are easy to be killed by the antibiotic. But the problem is when you prescribe them with the antibiotic, right? Antibiotic, okay, they try to kill all. Okay, they kill all, they only left the bacteria which contain the antibiotic resistant gene, which is this one. See, didn't kill. They are still survive. Okay, they are still survive. 还存活. So what will happen is, and then you didn't complete your antibiotic dose. Okay, doctor asked you to complete your antibiotic dose, but you didn't complete it. Okay, maybe you just eat few pills and then you still have about 4 or 5 pills haven't completed. So that's why this will cause the antibiotic resistance happen. It's because that you didn't kill the bacteria, right, which contain the antibiotic resistant gene. So this bacteria, right, see this bacteria which carry the antibiotic resistant gene, they will survive. So once they survive, right, they're able to pass this antibiotic resistant gene to another bacteria. And then they will also reproduce more. So when they reproduce, right, they can pass through resistant gene to the next generation of bacteria. So at the end, you grow this kind of bacteria, okay, which is all bacteria, right? They already have this antibiotic resistant gene. So see, with reduced competition for the nutrients, antibiotic resistant bacteria, right, they will multiply, forming a larger population that's very difficult to control. So this is the effect that you didn't complete your antibiotic medicine. Okay, so you encourage your body to develop this kind of the bacterial population, which is totally resistant to the antibiotic. So if the next time, right, the doctor, okay, they prescribe you with the same antibiotic again. So this same antibiotic, right, now they cannot control the infections because all inside your bacteria, right, they're already resistant to the antibiotic. They already have this gene. So that's why doctor, right, they need to change to another antibiotic treatment. Okay, because we have a lot of antibiotics that can be used. Okay, penicillin is just one of it. 就是说，如果你的这个身体有这个抗药性的话，就是这个细菌有抗药性的话，医生就不能够再用同样的抗生素去治疗它，他需要去换另外一种抗生素就是可以去杀死这些细菌就这样子意思。Okay, so this one, plasmid. Okay, maybe you're wondering, okay, how the bacteria, right, able to develop this antibiotic resistant gene is because like this one. The bacteria, they have this plasmid, right? Okay, this plasmid, right, they contain what? They contain this antibiotic resistant gene. Okay, so they can share between the bacteria of the both or the same different bacteria species. So means that even though this antibiotic, even though this bacteria die, right? Even though they die already, but their plasmid, which is a DNA, you know, the plasmid DNA, they contain this antibiotic resistant gene. They still can pass through the another bacteria. So this another bacteria, right, initially they don't have this antibiotic resistant gene. So they can accept those plasmid DNA and then they can pass through the gene to the next generation. So they will lead to the consequence, which is the bacteria inside your body, right, become harder and harder to kill because all of the bacteria, they already develop this antibiotic resistant gene. So that's why you need to change the antibody, become to another group of antibody, or even all the antibody that you use become resistant to the bacteria in your body, right? You become no cure. Okay, 就不能够治疗了. Okay, so this is the issue happen in this medical field nowadays. Okay, so that's why. So that's why now the doctor, they are reducing the prescription of the antibiotic So instead of using antibiotic, right, they are replacing this antibiotic with the probiotic, 益生菌. Okay, so another thing is, okay, now how about alcohol? Okay, alcohol is just very simple. Okay, alcohol, alcohol, they can bring a lot of bad effect to yourself, right? So those are effects, okay? Able to vomit or impair the adjustments or impair the balance, muscle growth. So don't drink, okay? You still can drink, but you can control yourself, okay? You can control yourself. Yeah, so alcohol, right, is a depressant drug. So it will slow down the signals in the nerve and the brains. So whenever you see the adults, like, which is they drink the alcohol, they become very, very like their response become very slow. So because alcohol, they increase the retention time, they increase the reaction times, means that they are increasing the time taken to react to the situation because it slow down signaling in the brains. 就是说反应很迟钝啊，那些喝酒的人啊 something like that. Okay, so how you able to remove the effect of the alcohol? So you need to use the liver. Liver, okay? So the liver, they do what? Liver, they will do the detoxification. Detoxification is a process which is they will help to clear the toxins in your blood or in your body. So alcohol is considered a kind of toxins, okay? It considered a kind of toxin to your body. So that's why the liver, they will help to remove the alcohol from the bloodstream. So it's because that liver itself, right, is an organs. They can produce an enzyme. They can break down the alcohol, but the product of reaction involve toxic over time. So the liver can be damaged. So it means that if you constantly drink the alcohol, right, slowly, it will affect and damage your liver. So maybe you will develop like fatty liver disease or something like that. And also, alcohol can be very addictive drug. So it means that if you drink alcohol, right, it will cause you to drink more. Okay, you want to drink more. You are addicted with the alcohol already. So drink less alcohol, okay? Okay, and then now we'll talk about another drug because heroin, okay? In Hawaii, it calls what? Heroin. Heroin. So heroin is a powerful depressant drug. Also, what I mean by this? Depressant drug means by it can depress the bad feeling. So we call it depressant drug. Okay, so it able to reduce the pain and slow down the breathing. So it cause of people become highly addictive, and the user quickly develop tolerance for it. Okay, meaning they need a larger and larger amount to feel the same effect. Means that once you get the heroin, right, next time, right, you will demand more heroin and then you need to increase the dose of the heroin. So you're able to feel the effect, which is we call euphoria. It will make you feel happy under the heroin effect. But next time, if you want to take the heroin, right, you will take more. So you're able to get the same effect. So this will increase the risk of the overdosing, which can lead to the death. So this means that the people, right, they need to pay more for the heroin. So it will make them less able to cope with everyday life and maintain a job. Yeah, okay, something like that. So this is the effect. But I want to tell you about how the heroines able to affect our nervous system is heroines, they will affect the neurotransmitter. Okay, they will affect neurotransmitter. Okay, so one thing you need to know is, okay, why you feel happy? You feel happy. Okay, happy is kind of emotion, but this emotion, right, is actually induced by the releasing of the neurotransmitter. Means that neurotransmitter being released, right, it will make me feel happy. So we have 4 happy hormones, which is this one. I didn't show you. Oh, sorry, I didn't show you. Okay, wait a minute. I think I sent the wrong notes already. Okay, I want to show you a thing. Okay, this one. Means that if you feel happy, right, it's not because you feel happy, it's because you're under influence of those neurotransmitter, which is these 4 neurotransmitter. This one, see, because 4 happy hormones. 开心 hormone, you know. So and then I wanted to talk about these two hormones, okay? Because you will learn it. Dopamines and the endorphins. Means that how these two hormones, right, they will affect your emotions. And then you are addicted with it. It causes addictions. 上瘾 addictions. Okay, so we read about this statement first. So in the brain, right, there are many different chemical neurotransmitters. So they help to transfer the nerve impulse across synapses, right? Because neurotransmitter is a chemical signal, help you to connect from one nerve to another nerve, right? By the gaps. So what they do is the neurotransmitter, they will diffuse across synapse and then they'll fix to the receptor protein molecule on the postsynaptic membranes. And then there's one group of neurotransmitter we call it what? We call it endorphins. Endorphins will help to reduce the sensation of pains, affect your moods, and reduce sensation of hunger and thirst. Basically, this endorphin, right? What's mean by endorphins? Endorphins is referred to the endogenous morphine. You heard about a drug, no, morphine, right? Morphine, endogenous morphine. Means that your body able to produce their own morphine. So they know as endorphin, endogenous morphine. Endogenous refer to the substance, okay, the hormones which is being produced by your own body cell. So endorphins is kind of neurotransmitter. So they help you to feel better or reduce the pain. Okay, reduce the sensation of pain. So when it enters the brain, right, heroin is metabolized, become morphine. Okay, so this is like, so you can just imagine that if someone, right, they are taking the drug, taking the heroin drug. So this heroin, they will enter to the brains. Okay, they will go by the bloodstream, right? And then they will pass through this, we call it blood-brain barrier. And then they will get into the brains. And then they will get into the neurotransmitter. So heroin, right, they will become morphine. Okay. So they just like imitate like the neurotransmitter, but actually it's not a neurotransmitter, okay? Morphine is a kind of drug. So morphine molecule, okay, they can fit into some of the endorphin receptor, and this is why taking heroin make the user feel so good. Means that this morphine molecule, right, they can fix into the receptor on the postsynaptic neuron. And then the receptor, right, is endorphin receptor. So in the normal way, right, for healthy patients, a healthy people without taking any morphine, without taking any morphine, yes, their body, right, they will naturally release the endorphin. So this endorphin, right, they will just produce, okay, whenever your body feel very pains, or you have any something like negative emotions, something like that. So your body will produce these endorphins. So this endorphin, right, is a kind of neurotransmitter. So they will bind to the receptor proteins on the postsynaptic neurons. So this receptor protein, right, they only can bind to endorphins. So we call it what? We call it the endorphin receptor. So, and that's what I remember, endorphin neurotransmitter, they bind to the endorphin receptor proteins on the postsynaptic neuron. So what is the effect of this binding? It will cause the patients to feel less pain, feel happy. 止痛, okay? So it plays very important role in the surgery, like in the analgesia, you know, 止痛. Sometimes it's something like whenever a patient, they have a surgery, right, they feel very pain, okay? So how your doctor able to reduce the pain sensations? So they will use, they will use this, they will use this drug. So taking heroin, right, they can reduce the production of natural endorphins and other neurotransmitters. Okay, so what happens if you abuse the use of the heroin? So this heroin, right, they can turn to be kind of morphine when they get into your body. So this morphine, right, they can just imitate like endorphin, because morphine, they can also bind to the endorphin receptor on the postsynaptic neuron. So that's why it would make the patient feel less pain, feel happier. Feel more happy. So that's why, and also if you take a lot of heroin inside your body, right? So your body will react like, wow, now I got a lot of endorphin. So that means that I don't need to release my own endorphin already. Okay, I will reduce my production of the endorphins. It means that the body will reduce the production of the natural endorphin because they thought they already have enough endorphin already. But actually, it's not natural endorphin. Actually, it's from the morphine. You know, actually, it's from the morphine. Morphine, which is from the heroin. Okay, so that's why whenever the patient they take the heroin, right, they need to repeat the use of the heroin. It means that they need to increase their dosage in order to get the same feeling. Okay, because they can reduce the production of the natural endorphin. Yeah. So okay, so what is endorphin? Endorphin is a kind of painkiller, okay? Painkiller, okay? So and also how your body able to secrete out the endorphin is you need to do more exercise, right? I think you heard before, right? Means that exercise will make you feel happy. It's because during exercise, your brain, right, will release the endorphin. So it will make you feel happy, feel more, I mean, they'll feel more energetic after you finish the exercise. Laughing and dark chocolate also they can induce the endorphins. So this endorphin is a painkiller. They can help you to feel more better. Okay, feel more better. So okay, so see, painkiller and the stress receptor. So what they do is they bind to opioid receptor. Okay, opioid receptor is a kind of receptor, right? So they can help to block the pain signal. So that's why I tell you that endorphin is being used in the surgery, okay, for the analgesia, 止痛, okay, because they can block the sensation of the pain. Okay, so yeah, so those situations, right, when you are pain, under stress, or you're having this strenuous exercise, right, your body will respond by releasing the endorphin in order to help you to feel better, recover from the stress, recover from the pain in a natural way. Okay, so this endorphin, right, what they induce, they will cause the calm, well-being, euphoria. I mean that you feel more happy, feel more better by this endorphin. So this will talk about endorphin released by your body in a natural way. But if you want to use a drug, which is the heroin, okay, to make your body feel more happy, right? So the effect will be faster. Seriously, the effect induced by drug will be faster, but the bad effect is will be addicted. I mean, will be addicted to your drugs forever. Because this heroin, right, it will induce a very, very bad effect. Okay, so it will be something like this. This one, see, it will trigger your emotions, and then you will craving. Then you need to use more drug to get the same effect. It's because and then another thing is, okay, once you take the heroin, right, you cannot stop. You are unable to stop it because that heroin, right, they will cause your body reduce the production of natural endorphin, which is this one, natural endorphin, right, is actually good for the body because it's being reduced in a natural way. Because it's being produced in a natural way. But what happens is once you're taking more heroin, right, you actually reduce the natural endorphin productions. So whenever you stop taking heroin, right, and then you don't have the natural endorphin production, and then now you feel more pain, even more worse than you didn't use the heroin before. You feel more pain because you totally don't have natural endorphin at all. So that's why the drug addictor, right, they cannot cut off the drug. So that's the reason. Okay, another thing I want to talk about this is dopamine. Okay, dopamine. I think you heard about it before, right? 多巴胺. Okay, so dopamine and endorphin, right, is a different neurotransmitter. Okay, but those neurotransmitters, they will bring you a very positive feeling, make you feel happy, satisfying, rewarding. Yeah. So dopamine, right, we call it as a 多巴胺. Okay, so it's a rewarding chemical. It means that whenever you want to challenge yourself in completing a task, right? So it will give you this kind of hormone. So you feel more, you feel very, very happy. You feel more satisfying because you're able to complete the task. So this is called dopamine. Okay, so what happened is this one. Okay, so whenever we talk about dopamine, right, I want to talk about this drug known as cocaine. Okay, cocaine. Cocaine's, I forget Chinese known as what, cocaine. I really forget the Chinese word as what drug already. I just know it's cocaine, okay? So what cocaine do is, okay, we talk about in normal situation first, which is like us, okay, we as a normal human, we as a normal human being, our situation is like dopamine will release out in the, small amount. Okay, it's a very controlled amount. You will not have a like sudden too many dopamine being released. Yeah, so dopamine is being released. Maybe when you are eating the food, right? You're eating a very food which is very nice food. Nice food will make you feel better, right? So you increase the dopamine. So this dopamine, right, they will bind to the dopamine receptor on the pulsating neuron. So it will cause you to feel happy. But what has happened is now you have the cocaine. You take in the cocaine drugs. Okay, so cocaine drug, right? They will prevent the inhibitions of the dopamine. Okay, so what I'm talking about this is, okay, just imagine that dopamine, right, is a happy hormone. Okay, and then your body will secrete the dopamine in a control amount. It means that they cannot secrete dopamine in a very large amount. Just control it. Control small amount of it, which is in the normal situation, okay, in the normal condition. But whenever you're having a drug, which is cocaine, right? Cocaine. Okay, cocaine, right? It will block the a neuron. Okay, the neuron have a name, okay, but it's too complicated for you. Just need to know that cocaine will block the neurons. So this neuron, right? What they do is they will inhibit on the secretion of dopamine, because I tell you that dopamine only can secrete in a very small amount. Cannot be too much, yeah. Cannot be too much. So that's why the cocaine, they will block the neurons, which is the inhibitory neurons. Which is this neuron, right? They will inhibit the secretion of the this one dopamine. So once the cocaine, they block the inhibitory neurons on the secretion of the dopamine. So it means that now dopamine, right, they will just secrete in very, very large amount, because there's no neuron they can block the production of dopamine. So you can see, right, it will be like sudden increased amount of dopamine being released out. So whenever you have an increased amount of dopamine being released out, what happens is you have this one euphoria effect. 就是感觉很开心啊。something like that, euphoria, 很开心，很亢奋这样子 euphoria. So this is what the drug addicted patients are. Okay, they feel very happy when they are taking the drug. So actually they are playing with the neurotransmitter. Okay, so you can read this. Dopamine increase in response to natural rewards, such as from foods, or you are just completing a task. You feel very satisfying, so you release the dopamine. But when you take the cocaine, right, which is drug, so dopamine increase dopamine increase are exaggerated. So the communication is denied. Okay, you just increase a large amount of dopamine, and then you cannot control it. Okay, so dopamine, right, is a motivator, is a reward signal. Okay, you bind to the dopamine receptor on the brain reward pathway. So dopamine is being naturally secreted when you achieve your goal. Okay, for example, at the you score a very good result in your exam. You feel very happy, right? So you secrete the dopamine. Or you eating a delicious food, discovery something new hobby, drug like that. Yeah. So it gives you the pleasure, satisfaction, focus, creating, and the motivations. Okay, so those are the happy hormones. Okay, so and that's why you feel happy. You feel happy because those hormones being secreted out. That's why you feel happy. So if you want to feel happy, right, you can do the exercise. Okay, you can eat some good food, right? So you can stimulate the secretion of those hormones because happy hormones. Okay, I thought I can finish, but I cannot finish it. It's okay. And then now we talk about the gas exchange system, right? The tobacco and the disease. Okay, so we talk about smoking. I think yeah, smoking. So smoking will cause what? It cause this one COPD. This is called as COPD. COPD. The full name is what? The full name is called as a chronic obstructive lung disease. Okay, so it's a kind of the severe lung disease. So you can see, right? This is normal lung and this is the smoker lungs. So you can see that the smoker lung, the lung appear very dark, greenish, dry. And then you can see that the lung actually collapse, right? Become very hardens. Okay, and also for a healthy lung, right, they need to be soft, spongy. And inside of lung, right, why they are soft and spongy? Because inside they contain a lot of air. Okay, when you have a experience of touching a lung before, you feel that the texture of lung, right, is very soft and spongy, just like the sponge just like sponge. Okay, 很软很柔软的 OK， 然后里面是有空气的this is a normal lung, what it look like. But if a smoker lung or either disease lung, right, they will look something like hard. And then inside they contain the fluid like inside they contain fluid. Instead of contain only air they contain the fluid something, or sometimes they contain pus 脓液脓液在里面。Okay, so chemical in the cigarettes, right, include what? Tar, nicotine, and carbon monoxide. So tar is a chemical substance, right? It will cause a lung cancer. Okay, later we'll talk about how tars able to cause a lung cancer. And then for this one, nicotine. Okay, nicotines, they can help to do what? They can help to narrow the blood vessel, just similar to the cholesterol. Okay, cholesterol also can help to narrow the blood vessel. It will cause what? It cause a narrowing of the artery lumens, and then you will have the coronary artery disease. And then the carbon monoxide, because what? 一氧化碳, okay, carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide, they can reduce the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. Okay, so how is the effect of tar is? Tar is the carcinogenic. Okay, what's meant by carcinogen? Carcinogen means that this substance, they can cause cancer. Any substance they cause cancer, we call it carcinogens. So whenever you see the product labeled with carcinogen, you need to be very, very cautious because they can harm your, they're able to harm your body. So they can increase the chance of the cancerous cell developing in the lungs. Okay. So for your information, I think in the China, okay, right, the lung cancer become the first, become the most commonly affected cancer for the Chinese population. I think they smoke a lot, maybe. The lung cancer, and then followed by the colon cancer. Yeah. And then it can contribute to the COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder. So COPD is a complicated term. Okay, it includes these two conditions: chronic bronchitis and the emphysema. Okay, chronic bronchitis in Mandarin called what? 慢性支气管炎。Okay, 慢性支气管炎。Emphysema called what? 肺气肿。肺部气肿。This one. So this is two different diseases caused by the smoking. Yeah. So what the tar do is the tar will because tar, right? Tar is a chemical. So this chemical, they will irritate the respiratory lining. So when they irritate the respiratory lining, right? The respiratory lining, they have what? They have the goblet cell. So the goblet cell, they will secrete more mucus. Okay, and then they're able to destroy the cilia. Okay, so what is the function of cilia? Function of cilia is cilia, they will do what? Cilia beating, right? They will beat forwards, backwards. Okay, so why? Because they want to remove the mucus. So now you destroy the cilia already. So the mucus being produced, right? They cannot be moving to another spot. Correct. So destroy the cilia and then you inhibit the cleaning of airway. So that's why mucus will just accumulate. They will just build up within your respiratory airway. Okay, mucus will build up within the respiratory airways, and then slowly, mucus, right, they will block the lumen of the bronchiole. So you have this smoker cough. I think you heard about it. I think you heard about this before, right? The smoker cough, how is it like? Something like something like that. Okay, because you can feel like the airway inside of smoker, right, is already narrow. Why is it narrow? Because it's being blocked by the mucus. Okay. So it damages the epithelia, resulting in the scar tissue, narrow the airway, and then make the breathing become difficult. So this we call as the consequence. If you smoke a lot, it will cause the tar irritate the respiratory airways and cause the mucus building up, and then the cilia being destroyed. So slowly will cause the airway become narrow, and then will make the breathing very difficult. And then how about the emphysema? Emphysema is a result of the frequent infections, meaning that the phagocytes are attracted to the lungs when then they release this elastase. Okay, what's mean elastase? Elastase is the kind of enzyme, right? This enzyme will break down the elastic fibers, the elastin in the alveolus wall. Okay, and that's why I think you also remember that alveolus wall, right? The wall is very thin, and also very, because of elasticity. Okay, just like a balloon. Just imagine the alveolus just like a balloon. And then what happened is the phagocyte, okay, when they move into the lung, right, they thought there's infections. They thought it's an infection. And then phagocyte, right, their role is they want to clear off the infections. So how they clear the infection? They will secrete the enzyme to digest any pathogen inside, right? But what happened is the enzyme contain the elastase. So instead of digesting any phagocyte on it, so this enzyme, right, they can break down the elastin in the alveolus wall. So that's why the alveolus, what happened? Alveolus become ruptured already. Okay. So alveolus cannot stretch. They can recoil and become burst. Okay, because alveolus, right, the alveolus is made from the alveolus wall, which is inside, they contain this elastin. Elastin is kind of fibers. So now these elastin fibers, they're being break down by the elastase enzyme. So this will cause the alveolus unable to stretch. So they will just burst off like this. Okay. You can see emphysema. So in the healthy alveolus, right, what will happen is you can see, right, the alveolus wall is very well demarcated, very clear cut. Okay. Very elastic, very thin, one-sided. But what happens if you have the emphysema? Okay, you actually break down the alveolus membrane, which is an elastin. So you can see, right? Now the surface become not clear cut already. You can see they're actually joining from this alveolus to another alveolus, like this. The alveolus membrane gone already, the elastin gone already. So that's why the alveolus they will recoil, and then they will rupture. They look like rupture. So whenever you break down the alveolus, right, it will cause the large airspace, like this one. See, a very large airspace, which is connected to each other. Large airspace connected with each other. Okay, so this will reduce the efficiency of the gaseous exchange. That's why your alveolus will get in lesser oxygen, lesser carbon dioxide, because you're actually reducing the total surface area, you know. You are actually reduce the total surface area. Yes. Okay, so this is called emphysema. So you can see emphysema, it will look like this. Just look like alveolus wall is gone already. And then few alveolus they just combine together, become a larger alveolus. So this is emphysema. And then what happened in the bronchitis? Okay, bronchitis, right? The common cause of bronchitis actually is by what? By the asthma. 气喘, or it's not 气喘, 哮喘, sorry, 哮喘, asthma. So asthma, right, they will irritate the lining on the bronchus, and then they will see any irritations on the lining of the respiratory tract, right, it will cause them to produce mucus. So if you have the excessive production of mucus, right, it will cause a narrowing of the lumen. So once the lumen being narrow, less air like able to pass through it, right? Less air able to flow through it because the lumen become narrow already. So that's why you have a difficulty breathing. So whenever you have this bronchitis, what is the treatment is you need the drug, right, which able to dilate your bronchus. Okay. So like the asthma, okay, in the asthma patient, right, they will have this inhaler, right? So this inhaler inside they contain a drug. So this drug able to expand the bronchus. It's not expand, means that it's dilate the bronchus. Because in the asthma, right, the bronchus is narrow already, like narrow bronchus. So you need some medicine able to help to dilate the lumen of the bronchus. So you expand the bronchus, so you can allow the air to move inside. Okay, so here is a story of the COPD, which include the chronic bronchitis and the emphysema. Okay, and emphysema. So, and then for the exam purpose, you need to know this. You need to know this. So, what's the function? I mean, what is the side effect of the COPD? Okay, so you have this one. Okay, you have a shortness of breath, dry cough. Yeah, you have the chest tightness. You have the wheezing. Okay, what's the mean of wheezing? Wheezing is referred to the bronchus lumen become narrow already. So when the air they pass through this narrow bronchus lumen, right? They will give like something like sound. Okay, they will have a very very noisy sound being heard when the doctor auscultate by using their stethoscope. Because in the normal lung, right, they should have what? Clear lung sound. Forget to tell you, okay? Clear lung sound. A clear sound means like inside your lungs, right? Okay, whenever the doctor auscultate your lung sound with the stethoscope, right, you just feel like just feel a very clear lung sound. Okay, 就好像空气里面的这个风吹过而已。But when they auscultate your lungs, right, they can feel like they can hear a very large or noisy sound inside. That means wheezing. Wheezing is due to the narrow of the lumen of the bronchus. Okay, I think next time I show you the video of the wheezing sound, how wheezing sound heard like due to the narrowing of the airway. Okay, so I think that's all. I think that's all for today. A lot of information that you learned for today, right? Okay, so is it clear, Adam Suyang? Is it clear?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, just I just log out. Okay, so everything clear, right, Adam Suyang?
Yeah.
Okay. Any question you can ask me, yeah? Yeah, yeah. Okay, so just need to do more exercise. Okay. Okay, that's all. Goodbye. Good night. Good night.